Well, now, Jed, them Republicans claim that them Democrats is a dragging their feet, and them Democrats come back and them saying that those Republicans ain't got a leg to stand on. Yeah. That's why I ain't taking no chances. I'm a tonicking them both sides.
Right on, Nancy. You took the book. Everybody very excited. She's got the Moonshine Bible. John Schlimm is joining us. He's a Harvard-trained educator, an artist, an award-winning writer, an essayist, author of 18 books, including The Shine. I'm just going to call it The Shine. He's also written an award-winning memoir, the Christopher Award-winning memoir, 5 Years in Heaven. All kinds of cookbooks that have some, wiggy to it, like, moonshine, wine, cocktailing book.
It's kind of obvious we're excited about liquor.
Yeah, well, he's got the Ultimate Beer Lovers Happy Hour.
Ooh.
So he really does belong on our Happy Hour show here on Big Blend Radio. He's got the Tipsy Vegan. I like that. Because a lot of times they think if you're a vegan that you should sit in your corner with your carrot stalk and you don't get wine, you don't get any of that. So I like this. He's also the author of the Ultimate Beer Lovers Cookbook, the largest beer cookbook ever published, and it was awarded the best beer book in the world and best beer book in the United States by Gourmand International.
Cool. So
he's a perfect guest here. Very excited to have him here on Happy Hour right here on Big Blend Radio. He's going to talk about his awesome new book. It's called Moonshine, a celebration of America's original rebel spirit. And Nancy stole one of his quotes from the book.
It's from Granny.
I know. Anybody who likes cocktails needs to have this book. If you like to mix them, you like to drink them, if you like to research the history behind the Shine, you need this book. So go get it on Amazon, all those places, Barnes & Noble, your bookstores. But I also say go to his website. I love to send people directly to the author. Go to johnschlimm.com, and that's SCHLIMM.com. Just making sure everybody knows I know how to spell, even though it's happy hour. Welcome, John. How are you?
Hey, you two. It is so great to be with literally two of the funnest people in the world. So we are going to have such a great time. And I am totally with you on that wiggy feeling. And nothing gives you that wiggy feeling like a first sip of 180 proof moonshine.
Woo! Wow. This is so exciting. We're so thrilled to have you and on the show and talk about Shine. Nancy and I, before we went live here, we were talking about, Nancy and I travel a lot. We go to national parks and cover the parks, the communities, all parks actually. It's, it could be your county park. We're always in search of the perfect place to have a wiggy picnic. You got to walk, and then you get to have a reward of good food and a little wiggy libation. And what's interesting reading Moonshine, and I love this, Nancy's holding she won't give me the book back. We want to do a Shine Trail with this, and we had a small taste of moonshine in Louisiana, central Louisiana, a few years back.
That's way cool.
In our hotel, the hotel manager said, "You need to go to happy hour." And we were out filming grave sites and gators at this point. "You need to be here at 5 o'clock," she says to me. And this is a brand name hotel, and I'm not going to give it out. She says, "You need to be here." And she says, "Just listen to me. You need to be here." No matter, she wouldn't tell us why, but of course we tell everybody who's take us around, we need to be back for happy hour. Apparently this is a big deal. I'm like, what could happen at a typical brand hotel that's, unique? Well, you walk in, there is a man who was selling and serving his Shine out of the back of his car. He would run out, take orders, and then bring him back in, and he was like the little bar manager dude. This is central Louisiana. And people bought it, and they were going to try and one guy was going to try and get it over and fly home with it back to North Carolina. And I'm like, isn't that where it came from? Is this legal?
I think I'm going to plead the fifth on that and just say I hope you enjoyed what he had to offer.
Absolutely.
That was the only Shine we've had, and they had different flavors. He had this is cherry, this is banana. And I'm like, my eyebrows went up, and I started to get really kind of happy. I had a really good night's sleep. And then the only other Shine we've had is our friend, one of our experts, Ralph Mason-Gill Jr., our change agent who comes on our business show, sent us a mason jar with a whiff of Shine because it wasn't really in there, but he's in East Tennessee. but you could smell it. And I tried to lick the lid of the mason jar, and I about fell over. So this is
now we have had, or at least I have had. Sorry, you were too young. When we lived in South Africa, what they call Witblits, which is white lightning. And you could go into most bars and get a little shot, which was about a bottle cap of Witblits. That it makes your ears burn.
Well, this is what I want to know.
It's really good if you're sick.
What is shine exactly compared to like whiskey or bourbon and you know, those different spirits?
Well, you know, it's a close cousin. But it's certainly not the same thing. Moonshine is super simple, and this is what the Moonshiners understood, and this is why it was such a success. It basically is just fresh water, corn, yeast, and if you really want, you can put in some flavoring. I certainly have some infusions that we can talk about in the book, but it's simple, it's clean. You send it through that copper pot still, and out comes really pure magic in a mason jar. And the Moonshiners understood this because that's what they had access to on their farms. They had the fresh mountain water, and they had fields of corn. And so they have now gifted us with this amazing drink that we get to enjoy.
But it now became legal in some places, right? And we can, I mean, like, wasn't it like 5, 6, 7 years ago that we couldn't really buy it, or?
Yeah, that's sort of the beauty of this 250-year journey of the Moonshiners. When I really started delving into their history, I just fell in love with these men and women. These are folks we really want to party with. They, you know, from the very right? You know, I'm like, these are our people. We get them. They were, you know, these farmer entrepreneurs and patriots and artisans, and they really handcrafted their own destiny. And they fought for that American dream and to achieve that dream for 250 years. And here we are, and we get to reap the benefits because now it's legal, now it's legit. You still need a license. That's why, you know, there's legitimate distilleries popping up everywhere. But, you know, we can go into these distilleries. We can go into liquor stores anywhere, and there are whole sections of moonshine. So this is something that's been in the works for 250 years. Even before our country was the United States, they were here making moonshine, and I'm very grateful to them for that.
Yeah, we are too. This is fun, and the recipes and the infusions, because you go like into restaurants and you'll see like they're infusing their own vodkas, and that's pretty much what you see the most of is the infusion is vodka. But I never thought about the infusions of shine. I'm sorry, I just like to say shine. It's a good word.
That's okay. You know, moonshine by any other name is still just as sweet and potent. So, you know, it was really important for me when I was working on this book to contribute something new to the discussion, something new and really fun to the discussion of moonshine. And there have certainly been other historical and even academic type books done on moonshine, and that's great. We need those kind of books, but that was never going to be the book I was going to write. I like to write a party in a book. So the history I told is told in a fun way that you can sit down on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon with a mason jar beside you and just laugh your way through it and learn a little history. But then, of course, I had to add, you know, over 100 recipes for moonshine infusions and moonshine cocktails. So it's really like 2 books in one, but it was important for me to contribute something new to the moonshine story.
So have you did you make up these recipes and have you tested them all?
That's important.
I did, and yes. Well, and I have to tell you, I didn't have to look very far for willing taste testers. You know, my friends and strangers alike were at the door knocking when it came time to test these. And had I known you two, I would have had you over.
Hey, you know, we'll be coming to a town near you if you do another one of these books. You know, because this is the thing. You seem to have so much fun with your books. You know, I think what started all of this, I hear that you are related to the family who started like one of the first breweries in this country. I mean, is this something that, you know, does shine and bubbles and wiggy flow through your veins?
Do you notice a trend here? Yeah, you know, the love of all things The love of all things boozy really does flow through my veins. My great-great-grandfather founded our straw brewery here in St. Mary's in the 1870s. So we're now the third oldest brewery in the country. And, I'm fifth generation. I sit on the board of directors. And, it's really an exciting heritage to be a part of. And that's why I've been inspired to write so many of the beer books that I've done. But what was also great, as I was getting to know the Moonshiners through my research, they really reminded me of my great-great-grandfather, of, that 19-year-old immigrant who came over from Germany with nothing more than some gold pieces sewn into his jacket and a recipe for beer. And he wanted to achieve the American dream just like they did. And here we are, Strawberry is about to turn 150 years old in a few years. So I just love that we, have those roots. And really every family has great roots if people start digging. They might not all be boozy, but that's okay. I've got them covered.
Well, I love this, the family history part. We actually do a show, a third Friday family history show, because it's really interesting. And every time you turn around in history, you're going to find a shiner in some format, whether it's beer, wine, or shine. There's going to be some family recipe that goes through. But it's interesting, too, because we've actually done some history in Yuma, Arizona. Here is the corner of the Southwest, southwest corner of Arizona. And some of the history there, some of the very first families are of Scottish descent, and they were talking about their great-great-grandfather, the Lutz family. They owned a casino, which isn't a casino now, but back in the day it was. But it was hidden, like they had hidden copper stills and things like that, and apparently they were making shine, and like the great-great-grandfather or something got in trouble. So it came all the way to the Southwest, and that makes sense because you think about how people, migrated across the country. But it's interesting, your family coming from the English side and then the German side, but we've got it's Scottish mostly when it comes to the shine.
Yeah, and what is great concerning the heritage I come from and in the Moonshine Book is tomorrow night I'm bringing all of that together. We're doing a launch party for the book at my family's brewery, and we have this thing at the brewery called the Eternal Tap. Which is a tourist destination for people from around the country, and it's just like it sounds. The beer never stops flowing from the Eternal Tap. So tomorrow night at the launch party for the Moonshine Book, there's going to be, beer, and we're bringing in a local moonshine distillery, one of the first ones in the area, and I'm bringing those two worlds together. And I have to think that my great-great-grandfather, as well as all those original moonshiners, are going to be up above smiling down and nodding.
That's so cool. An idea is floating through my little brain here. How about when we're on our tour, every town or place that we go, you come up with a moonshine recipe? We want to do a shine trail. I know we need to do something. We're going to call you from Shinevilles. Do you think that there's shineries across the country? Are there specific regions? I mean, we always think Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, right? Are there specific regions we need to focus on for the shine?
Well, those are definitely home base for some of the original distilleries. But the great thing is moonshine distilleries are popping up across the country. So I think just about anywhere you go, you're going to find one. And I will certainly be right along there with you in spirit. Literally.
He's high in spirits there. We like that. I know we're excited. We're going to be going to Kentucky next year. We're going to do the Bourbon Trail. So I'm going to be like, okay, will you shine us first? But it's interesting because they have like a whole bourbon archaeology thing happening out of Springfield, Kentucky is one of the places we're going. And we were talking to, Nicholas out there, Larquenti, if I'm saying his last name correctly, but he does this archaeology, and they're finding old, stills and the old, things that they did things in to make the bourbon and the shine.
Equipment would be
there you go, the things. But he's going out there, and that is so cool to think about the history that is coming out from underground that made people happy for so many years. I want to do that.
Absolutely. And that's why I was so excited to be able to do the historical portion of this book the way I did it, because I really wanted to capture that just fantastic energy and spirit. And you can just tell that the Moonshiners always had a good time, even when they weren't exactly supposed to be doing what they were doing, even when they were outrunning the police, which, might not be so advisable today. But they had a good time. They had this maneuver they did called the 180 that I write about in the book. And when the police would be chasing the bootleggers through the dirt roads and the hollers and the hills down south, they would do this sharp turn and they would spin the car around and they would just smile and wave as they passed the police going in the opposite direction.
Wow.
I love that.
But isn't that where the NASCAR part comes in? Because this is the cool thing to me.
I love that.
One of America's, isn't it? Like, we talk about the American rebel spirit, but here it goes from the shine to NASCAR. That's got to be right up there with football for Americans.
Yeah, absolutely. I do a whole chapter on how moonshine paved the way for NASCAR. We really would not have NASCAR if it hadn't been for moonshine. Back in the day when you had the bootleggers and their hot rods racing through the hollers and the hills. On the weekends, they had a little bit of an ego going. They all thought they were the quickest driver, so they started racing each other in cow pastures. And which who doesn't, I would happily sit there and cheer them on with a jar of shine if I had been back then. And I come from stock car. My dad was a stock car driver back in the day, so I can certainly appreciate those origins. And but yeah, they would race in pastures, and eventually that became formalized into what we now know is NASCAR.
So there'd be all those mason jars in the trunk of the car, clinging and clanging as they spin around doing the 180, and them damn revenuers.
That sounds like me shopping. It's like clang, clang, clang goes the trolley. But it's so exciting because when you think about this history, do you feel like you are writing when because Nancy stole your book. She keeps, it's the history thing, and I think the recipes are so awesome. But there's this history part of it. Did you feel like you were writing the history of America in a way, like this is it, man. This is where it all came from?
Yeah, I really did, because before I started doing the research and writing this, I really had no idea just how intricately woven the Moonshiners were into the history of our country. And it's really kind of amazing, and I think your listeners will find it amazing when they read the history and see how the Moonshiners, they were some of the first immigrants here in the United States. Before it was even the United States, they fought in the Revolutionary War. They moved through all these other historical events right up to current day. All along, the Moonshiners played a really important role at every stop along history's march. And it's really cool to see that, and you really start to see how these Moonshiners and the moonshine that they made is truly as American as apple pie and blue jeans. And
there you
maybe
go.
even more so. And that's
because
that whole concept.
I was going to say, because it comes from here. Like blue jeans come from China, So.
Well, they do now.
No, there's cool places that make their own jeans. Go to Detroit. Just saying. Sorry.
Yeah, and the whole idea of the rebel spirit, that's what I just fell in love with in these Moonshiners, and I realized that each one of us, no matter who we are, where we are, we have that rebel spirit in us. We were born with that, and that's what spurs us on to pursue our dreams and to achieve whatever it is we hope to achieve. And so I really found their story to be so inspiring, and I'm already hearing, even though the book just came out last week, I'm already hearing from readers across the country how it's actually inspiring them to go out and follow their dreams. Maybe they aren't boozy dreams, but they're their own dreams, and I love that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's because you're telling the story of people, and I think one thing that I really love is the story of women in the shine, and it's because when you think about the wine industry, we do a lot on wine, and women have been involved in wine and the creation of champagne. I learned that from Hillary Larson, who's up on the show later. She's like, women had a lot to do with wine, and it's taken years for women to have their name on the label. They may have been in the background, but women have been involved in the world of wiggy. And it's the same thing in the world of shine. The one lady, how we love national parks, I have to bring up Josephine Duty, and I really wanted to say her name. You just wanted to say Duty. I did. But she's awesome. Tell us about her.
Well, in the book, it was important for me to have a Moonshiners Hall of Fame. And by all means, there are certainly more that I could have put in, but, I have only so many pages. But one of them certainly was Josephine Duty. She was known as the bootleg lady of Glacier National Park. So you'll definitely have to visit Glacier National Park and raise a toast to her. But she was originally a dance hall gal who started making moonshine and supplying to railroaders who were traveling on the Great Northern Railroad line at Marias Pass. And so she really made a name for herself in moonshine, as well as a lot of other women. The women were right there alongside the men. Let no one be fooled. The women played just as important a role as the men did in the history of moonshine, and I really tried to capture that in the book. In fact, we have this incredible photo. I worked really hard to get as many historical photos as I could for this book, which was not easy. I scoured state archives and historical societies throughout the South and really throughout the country, and there aren't many photos that exist. And so the ones in this book, this really is the largest collection of historical moonshine photos in one place. But I found this great photo of these two female moonshiners, which I was so excited when I came across. It's on page 44 in the book, and it came from Minnesota, a source in Minnesota, which is really interesting. But it's such a fun photo, and I just absolutely loved that. And I loved it how at the beginning you actually quoted Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies, that because I went back and researched moonshine in pop culture, and of course we all remember Granny Spring Tonic. And when I came across that clip of how she was going to go to Washington and give it to both Democrats and Republicans because she thought they both needed it, I thought, boy, that clip is as timely today as it was then. And again, it's all in fun and it shows how
quick.
It just shows moonshine is for everybody, and that's how I love to write my books. My books are parties that everyone can come to and have a really good time.
We need this. That's the thing. Even if you don't drink, this is something to just really understand some really cool history stories, and it's about that connection to people and our country, and what was going on, and how when you're out mining and stuff, you're out mining, you want a wiki at the end of the day. You're working hard, or you're going across the country, or whatever you're doing. It was not easy back in those days, and most people were drinking some form of wiggy because the water sucked. You know what I mean? Except for when you get to Kentucky, apparently the water you can just it's all good. But just friends who've told me that's why they're really good at bourbon is the water. I don't know, but we'll find out for sure. What was it that led you to say, okay, I'm going to do moonshine? And did you have some surprises that along the way that you kind of went, okay, I thought I was going to do it for this reason? Did you change course at all?
Well, I originally wanted to do it just because I really, really, really love moonshine. And everything should start with that burning wiggy love that you have inside, right? Yeah. And that's where it started. But as I started looking, because when you come up with a book idea, you start looking at have there been other books done on this topic, and if so, how can you do it differently? And I found that there weren't too many written on moonshine, and if they were, again, they were very historical, very academic, and I'm grateful for that. But I thought, here's my chance to contribute something really super fun to the conversation of moonshine, and hopefully inspire folks along the way just to celebrate life more, one sip at a time. And really that mission has never wavered from the time I started working on the book. And, and when my agent approached me, so two things happened separately. I came up with the idea and I let it percolate in my head for a few years while I was working on some other book projects. And then one day my agent actually came to me and said, look, there's a publisher who would love for you to do a Moonshine book. And I thought, okay, the stars are aligning. Cool. And so I was ready to go, and I said, let's do this. And so here we are with the Moonshine book. And I'm just so happy it's finally out in the world. I couldn't wait to share this book with the world. And, of course, you go through about a year or two of a process of writing it and editing it and pulling it together. So when it finally comes out, it's just the most amazing thing.
It's a beautiful, beautiful book, hardcover. And like I said at the beginning of the show, everybody needs it in their, their bootlegging stockings for Christmas. Give bootleggings.
I think
that's amazing. I love that.
I think the jug is iconic. I remember as a kid going to Disneyland, and there was some ride with bears or whatever it was, and the bear was singing the blood on the saddle, and he had the brown jug
whiskey,
with the
whiskey.
Exactly, the white, like the thing down at the bottom with the 3 red X's on it. And I remember that as a kid. And then I have seen in different museums across the areas we have traveled, every once in a while you'll see that jug. There's one, I'm pretty sure there's one on Palomar Mountain. Now, whether they're replicas or the real
they
deal.
went across from their family is from their Confederate, they were Confederate soldiers, the Baileys, and they went across from, I swear they're from Kentucky. I got to check this out on their history. But they founded their own town on Palomar Mountain in Southern California, and they have all the things that they brought across. I mean, they have their own post office from that. I mean, it's crazy. Now it's a resort. But
they founded the place on Palomar Mountain in California like 1880.
They've got to have a distillery in the backyard somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go look.
I know. You really got us on this moonshine thing. Because, think about this. I mean, here's this, lady with what is now, Glacier National Park. Like, shine is, like, across the country, like you were saying. This is, like, as American as apple pie, but this is, like, a really happy apple pie. I want to talk about dessert, but the triple X thing, I mean, this isn't, hugs and kisses. This is happy. This is, push the limit, right? With that.
Yes, this is triple X marks the spot. When you see that, to go towards it, just like going towards the light. What it really stands for, or at least did in the beginning, is it showed how many times the moonshine had been distilled, and the more times it was distilled, the stronger it would be. So 1X isn't good enough, 2X isn't good enough. We want 3X, and I wouldn't mind 4 or 5.
Oh. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. So I know we're going to be featuring some of your dessert recipes in the November through January issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, because everybody wants a good dessert. And I'm like, move over. If you've got family coming over, you need to make wiggy desserts. And you might as well have some shine, because if you have sometimes people have the grumpy Uncle Joe in the corner, and maybe he needs a little shine and sweetness. So I'm just saying, for all the grumpy people in your family, give them a shine dessert, because they may not want to try shine, but this might be the way to their hearts. I don't know. What do you think? These awesome desserts that you have in there.
Well, the best probably dessert cocktail in the book is the Smoky Mountain S'more.
Yes.
Who does not love a s'more? So if you have that grumpy Uncle and nobody has time for grumpy. We want happy people. So, have a Smoky Mountain s'more ready for that person the minute they walk in the door. And, it's just like what it sounds. It's moonshine, and I actually recommend the marshmallow-infused moonshine, which I give the instructions for in the book, along with chocolate liqueur, chocolate syrup, a chocolate bar, graham crackers, and marshmallows. So it is the whole shebang at 180 proof.
Wow. And I love this, too, because, number one, the Smoky Mountains, again, park lovers. And I know that there's some people off distilling in those areas or have been. I love the Moonshiners show, okay? I still do, okay? And the little dogs and the people doing it.
That's so funny.
You got to love that show. Did you sit and geek out on that? I want to go back to this recipe, but did you geek out on that show when you were writing this?
Well, I certainly loved the show, and, I think that the show did so much to really portray the Moonshiners in a fantastic way to the millions of viewers that it had. And so I'm really grateful that we got to see that inside look at some of the modern-day Moonshiners and how they're really carrying through the traditions and the spirit of the original ones 250 years ago. So I think that show, it's now iconic, just like Moonshine itself. And I appreciate what it did for Moonshine, because I think it really helped to make it go mainstream. Almost any bar you go into these days, there is a moonshine cocktail on the recipe or on the menu, or just straight moonshine itself. You didn't see that a few years ago. Moonshine is the new craft beer, where everyone was obsessed with craft beer. They still are, and I'm grateful for that because that keeps my family in business. But this is really the new craft beer. Everyone now wants, this handcrafted moonshine, and I'm just so excited that we get to live in this era. It's probably the booziest era in history, and aren't we great, blessed to be a part of it.
It's the Wiggy Revolution. And this is what's interesting. Okay, I got to bring this up. But it kind of goes with the s'mores. I just want to say this on the s'mores, because we think about s'mores only in the summertime around a campfire. But in wintertime, you could be in a nice snowy setting, like in the Smoky Mountains with a fire, nice crackling fire. And who wants to, not have s'mores at that time? Why do we have to, stop ourselves from doing it year-round? So this is the way to have a year-round s'more. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. When I've written the beer books that I've done, and that everyone always wants me to give them a seasonal list. And, everyone likes to drink different beers in different seasons, different wines in different seasons. My rule of thumb has always been, drink what you want, when you want, and enjoy it. The rule should be there are no rules.
If you want to have a Bloody Mary at 4 a.m, Godspeed. Do it. Whatever you want. And you've got a good Bloody Mary thing in there, too, man. I was looking at that going, everybody, move over for, New Year's Day. There's another way to get your wiggy happiness on and just continue going through.
It's a very healthy recipe.
It's got, V8 in it and everything. Yeah. You can, super infuse yourself with goodness. But I love this. I love that, the history is part of this. I love the people that you've brought to life. The other part of it is this strength of this history of we're going to do it no matter what the government tells us to do. We're going to still make it, And I find this very interesting it's timely. Because look at what's going on with the weed world. I mean, are you going to do the greenery cookbook next? I mean, I'm just saying. Because, if you look at the Shine, isn't that kind of the same thing as what's going on with the cannabis revolution here? I mean, people have been doing it even though you're not supposed to.
And they're going to do it anyway.
Right. It's been industrious.
Well, it's all about the revolution, and it's all about the rebel spirit, and it's all about each of us picking what revolution do we want to be a part of, and just changing the world in some way. As far as weed, there's a lot of cookbooks that I've seen out there on that, so certainly people are definitely pursuing that. But I think you're right. There are those similarities between the journeys of the two. I think weed maybe has a few years to catch up on moonshine, since moonshine's been around for about 250 years and all of that history. But again, the point of this book is live life to the fullest. And I love to sort of spread that message with any project I work on.
Oh, yeah, he's a rebel spirit.
Well,
do you listen to Billy Idol ever?
Absolutely.
I love the part in there where you're talking about, like, this is my land. I bought it. I paid for it. So I'm going to do what I want on my land. I like that, kind of feeling there. And then when you consider what we all pay in taxes, this whole country is our land, so we can do what we want. So there.
No, come on. Here we go. You got the shotgun? You're going to get the shotgun out?
Hey, I'm looking at these two women. They got these, like, overall dungarees things.
Yeah.
And they're all smiling. And I could pick actresses, like, to be in a movie just from looking at
it. Ain't
Meryl
no Lucille Ball.
Meryl Streep has got to be one of them. But she'd be awesome in a movie about Moonshine.
Well, the Moonshiners, they were never deterred. And again, there's that rebel spirit. And even when Prohibition was thrown at them, they turned right around and mastered the art of supply and demand. When the law said, you cannot do this, guess what? Everyone in the country said, but we really want to drink. It almost made everyone want to drink more. And the Moonshiners were there to supply that demand.
It's an opportunity.
That's it. Well, that's, again, going to the cannabis side, there's like a weird thing happening. Like some people are like, it's not, I would not know. there's a thing going on between the people. Some people don't want it legalized so that they can keep doing what they want to do on their land the way they do it, because now the regulation of it, the taxation of it. So there's this weird thing going on.
You definitely make less money when something's legal.
Yeah. So everything should be illegal.
No. Well, I would say let's pour ourselves a drink and have a talk about it.
I like it. I like that. I like that. I'm so glad you're on the show, and I'm so glad you wrote this book and we connected on this. It's such, again, everybody, put it in your bootlegger stockings. You've got to have it. The holidays are here. Don't wait. Do it before Thanksgiving, because you need to have the shine for the Thanksgiving. Seriously.
Well, yeah, just so you can cook the turkey.
Yeah, you need.
The turkey needs basting.
The turkey needs some shine. I'm thinking.
It won't be as dry as it always comes out.
Sorry. No, do the shine. But if you're going to try and do the thingy outside with the boiling hot oil thing, and do the shine after that. I'm just saying, the fire department.
You're talking about the deep fried turkey thing that people tried to do.
Yeah. Have you done any of that, John? Have you done like the shine at Thanksgiving?
Well, I always start every Thanksgiving with a happy hour. So I carry shine right on through, happy hour, dinner hour, after party. And I'm the one at 4 a.m. having that Shiny Mary that you were talking about.
Oh, I'm going to come hang with you. That is so
absolutely.
Cool. And then you just go all the way through the rest of December, and then into January. And then you go, ooh, Epiphany. Okay.
I know.
You can stand up now. That's what happens. All right, so it is time, to play Happy Hour. Get that mason jar out. Are you ready, John, to play Happy Hour?
I am ready.
Now, do you drink your shine in a jar or a glass or the jug, like Nancy?
Look, I'm not picky. If all I had was the palm of my hand, I would drink it out of the palm of my hand.
Oh. Okay, now we like you even more.
There it is.
Okay, yeah. I like this. So now, we want to know for Happy Hour, okay, if you could have Happy Hour with anyone in the world, alive or passed on, who would it be? Okay, because you want to have that discussion. You want to have that Happy Hour conversation.
Of course.
Who would it be? What are you going to drink? And we're going to ask you to choose a recipe from your book, Moonshine. Everybody go get it. And what are you going to talk about, but also where? Where is this going to happen?
I love this question. And so I think that I would choose to have a moonshine cocktail with Jackie Onassis, who is one of my most admired people. Classy. She understood a good time. She understood a good cocktail, and she loved history. So I think she would be all about this book and the Moonshiners. So I'd have a drink with Jackie Onassis. I would serve the Party in the Holler which is on page 198, and listen to this lineup of ingredients. So in addition to the moonshine, there's also rum, amaretto, gin, beer. Have to have the beer in there, or my family will disown me. I have to have the beer, some ginger ale, some orange and pineapple, and peach juices, and you are good to go. It's a perfect party lunch. And I
That's
think
a Mai Tai. That's a Mai Tai mixed with moonshine.
Yes, but I like this infusion thing.
Kinda.
That's my thing. I'm into the infusion.
It's except for the amaretto. That's a little different. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Throw in a little umbrella, and you can call it Mai Tai in the holler. Whatever you want to call it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, Mai Tai in the holler. I would have that, and I would suggest that she and I sit along a creek in some holler down south and just have a really great discussion about the Moonshiners and how we both just love to celebrate life and how they've inspired us.
Oh, I like this. I like this. And
you have to wear those plastic leis.
Yeah, and you can go. We're gonna shine and holler. That's it. The rebel yell. I love this rebel spirit. Like I could see a whole rebel spirit series of books coming out now. Like shine, weed. Just saying. I see this whole series coming out.
Jaywalking.
Yeah, jaywalking. I know. Is it even illegal now? Jaywalking?
Oh, of course, you can get a ticket for it.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Oh well. I have no idea what's legal or not, and I don't care.
There are funner things to get in trouble for than jaywalking. If you're going to get in trouble, get in trouble.
I have been in trouble on the beach with a horse, like the horse cop. Horse police come in, and it was a 4th of July party.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize that. I kind of new to this country at this point. Coming from South Africa, you can do a lot. And I didn't know you couldn't have Wiggy in a plastic container on the beach. I thought I was being safe. Apparently, no Wiggy on the beach. No. None. And do not play with the horse. That is not cool. But I thought it was cool. And double duty trouble, but not bad. Later, I directed traffic, but no one needs to know.
Whereas I tend to get in trouble when I'm dancing on top of a table at a dive bar at about 2 in the morning because it's with friends. But you know what? I always find that by the time they yell at you, you've already had your fun. So the joke's on them.
Exactly.
And you've learned not to go to one end of the table because the table flips.
I know. There's a balance.
There's a balance.
No. Okay.
Well,
so
I've
back
learned
in our
that
day,
the hard way.
Yeah, I love this. Okay, so we're going to see you on our tour somewhere, wherever we are.
Yes.
If we can meet on a Shine Trail spot, we're going to do the Shine Trail. This is going to be our happy hour across the country. When we had our band back in the day, we did this gig at this horse ranch in the desert in San Diego area, Borrego, and it was crazy. There was this Romanian drunk lady, Gita. And she was chasing people, and we all got, and there was music playing after. This was like one of the breaks. We all got on this table, those plastic long tables.
Oh,
and the band got up on there, and then one of the band's girlfriends, the skinniest, tiniest little girl, gets up on the table, and the entire thing collapsed. Everybody went down. And then Gita still went out because she was grabby Gita.
I'd go out in the side and I yell at the moon.
Yeah, she did. She was crazy Gita. But anyway, yeah. Anytime we can dance on a table, we should. Everybody go get the book, Moonshine, a celebration of America's original rebel spirit. It is out now by John Schlimm, and also go to his website, johnschlimm.com. He's on Twitter. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. Connect him with there. Go to Amazon. Get it wherever you go and buy books. Go get it. Get it for the holiday season. Get it for while you're cooking that turkey. Get it for after the turkey for your friends and family for the holidays. Get it for the new year because everyone should start the new year with a shine. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you so much for joining us, John. It's been a true pleasure.
Thank you to you too. This has been so fun, and I will definitely see you out on the Moonshine Trail.
Yeah,
cool.
You got to meet us at a Shine place.
Oh yeah, we're making a
absolutely.
And we can have a Shine picnic, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we want to do that. But we're going to play a song because, Tennessee is good, right, for Shine. And so this is Tennessee whiskey, not Shine, but it's Tennessee whiskey from Shelley King, one of our favorite musicians. So we had to play that, and it's off of her latest album, Fan Faves. Everyone go check it out at ShelleyKing.com. So here it is, a little Tennessee whiskey for you. Thanks so much, John. You take care.
You too.
All right. Cheers. Clink,
Cheers.
clink, or big clinks from the jugs and the jars.
Hello.
Yeah, I know. Here it is, Tennessee whiskey. Everybody stay tuned. We've got some more coming up. We've got some wine decanting and some lessons about criminal Kool-Aid cocktails. So here it is, Tennessee whiskey first.